Richard Gere, a man who was once the symbol of perfect elegance, with a smile that melted millions of women's hearts, now in his twilight years chooses to live in silent solitude, far from the glaring stage lights. Why did an icon like him suddenly disappear from the public eye? Could it be that behind that charming, captivating exterior are silent pains, irreparable losses, and sacrifices that make one's heart ache? Let us together deeply explore his life journey, a story intertwined with brilliant glory, unfinished love full of tears, shocking controversies, and life lessons that only those who have lived through many long years can truly appreciate. We will delve into untold secrets, heart-touching moments that move one to the core, and tragic aspects that will leave you stunned. I still clearly remember that moment, like a romantic film scene that lingers endlessly in memory. A young girl holding a small piece of paper, hastily writing a few simple lines, then pushing it toward him with a shy smile. "Please say yes." That is the sweet memory Richard Gere once shared in a rare interview, like a reminder that behind his seductive on-screen appearance, he is a deeply sensitive person, always drawn to the simplest, most sincere things in life. From my personal perspective, as someone who has followed Hollywood through many long years, Gere is not just an ordinary movie star. He is a vivid testament to pursuing one's true self, even if it means sacrificing the dazzling halo of fame. His story of a romantic screen lover, an immortal Hollywood icon, and a mysterious disappearance that keeps the world endlessly curious, is not just a dry biography, but also a profound lesson on courage in facing tragedy, on inner peace amid life's storms, especially for you, those who have gone through countless ups and downs in your own long journeys. If you have ever watched the classic film Pretty Woman, you surely cannot forget Richard Gere, the man with deep eyes that need no lengthy dialogue, a natural warm smile, and a quiet presence that can silence an entire wide frame. In over 3 decades dominating the silver screen, he was the gold standard of refined elegance, not only in films but also in everyday real life. Then, when Hollywood was still constantly calling his name with attractive offers, Gere suddenly disappeared mysteriously. He refused multi-million-dollar blockbusters, left the glittering red carpets, choosing silence as a challenge to the world. What made a star at the peak of fame choose to leave it all? Could it be the courageous statement that got him banned from the Oscars for 20 long years? Or beautiful relationships that always ended quietly in tears? Or even deeper, he never truly belonged to that glamorous world from the start. And there's a third reason, the most unexpected, the most heartbreaking, the woman who completely changed Gere's life, with an unexpected background, brought him both late happiness and indelible tragedies. From my perspective, Gere's disappearance is not a miserable failure, but a quiet victory. He chose to live by his true personal values, instead of being swept along by the merciless wheel of fame. That is a valuable lesson in an era where many people lose themselves for the blinding flash of lights. Please continue listening, because this story will touch the depths of your heart, stirring emotions that perhaps you have buried for a long time. This is the untold story of Richard Gere, the man who spent his life seeking to live true to himself, even if the price was everything he ever had. Let us explore together with deep analyses of his journey, where emotions flow coherently from the naive curiosity of youth to the peace of twilight years, but also full of tragedies that shatter one's heart. We begin from the early years, where everything formed the man he became, a foundation that seemed ordinary but contained the seeds of later tragedies. Richard Tiffany Gere was born on August 31st, 1949, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the second child in a family of 5 siblings. His father, Homer Gere, was an ordinary insurance salesman, while his mother, Doris, was a devoted homemaker caring for the family. When he was young, the family moved to rural upstate New York, where Gere grew up in a typical American middle-class environment of the 1950s. Strict discipline, frugal spending, and a focus on solid education. His childhood was not noisy or dramatic, like many other stars, but quietly nurtured a sensitive soul and a flexible intellect. From my personal perspective, this foundation is the golden key to Gere's later elegance, a perfect balance between strong physique and deep spirit, helping him stand out amid the often drama-filled and scandalous Hollywood crowd. At North Syracuse Central High School, Gere stood out with astonishing diverse talents, proficiently playing piano, guitar, bass, trumpet, composing music for school plays, participating in the student council in a leadership role, and excelling in lacrosse and gymnastics, even earning a prestigious sports scholarship for college. In 1967, he entered the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, majoring in philosophy, a choice reflecting his deep curiosity about life and human identity. But after only 2 short years, Gere dropped out to pursue the arts, first music, then quickly shifting to theater and professional acting. This decision went completely against his family's expectations, but reflected his lifelong principle, not following standards set by others, but his own unique path. Analyzing deeper, this choice shows Gere as a profoundly introspective person, strongly influenced by philosophy. He not only acted on screen, but lived like a true philosopher, always questioning identity and the meaning of existence. The combination of sharp philosophical thinking, strict sports discipline, and overflowing musical emotions created a unique personal foundation, helping him enter the performance world with greater inner depth than his contemporaries. Now, let us move to his early career, where Gere began to shine brilliantly, but also sowed the seeds for later silent pains, tragedies that made him gradually withdraw from the limelight. In 1973, Gere officially left university and stepped into professional theater with the lead role in the rock musical Grease in London. The role of Danny Zuko not only brought him to the famous West End stage, but also made audiences recognize an artist who could sing, act, and dominate the stage with a characteristically captivating demeanor, thanks to his solid musical foundation from high school. In the following years, he honed his skills through diverse plays like The Taming of the Shrew, a major challenge with classical Shakespeare, and Bent, a bold play about homosexual love in Holocaust concentration camps, showing artistic courage early in his career. Imagine a young man daring to choose such a sensitive role in the 70s, when society was still full of prejudices. That was not just pure acting, but a strong statement on personal freedom and social justice. From my perspective, this was the first sign of personal tragedy. Gere always chose the difficult, risky path, leading to major conflicts later in his career and private life. The film breakthrough came in 1977 with a small but impressive supporting role in Looking for Mr. Goodbar. Though the role was not large, Gere's rough, dangerous, and captivating appearance caught the attention of top directors. In 1978, he starred in Days of Heaven by the talented director Terrence Malick, a cinematic masterpiece with beautiful imagery and a poetic, slow rhythm like a long poem. With little dialogue, Gere's deep eyes and quiet presence left a profound impression, making audiences unforgettable. The initial peak was in 1980 with American Gigolo, a highly controversial film that propelled Gere to true star status. The role of Julian Kay, a high-class gigolo living in a luxurious but lonely world, both dangerously seductive and psychologically complex, helped redefine the Hollywood sex symbol of the early 80s: strong masculinity, unpredictable mystery, and subtly tormented, a refined inner pain. Analyzing closely, this period shows Gere did not need blockbusters or exaggerated acting to shine, just a deep look, a fleeting smile, and he etched the character into audiences' hearts. That is the power of subtlety, a profound commentary on how Hollywood often favors noise. But Gere proved that silence is the strongest weapon, though it also brought tragedy. Being labeled a sex symbol made his private life constantly scrutinized, leading to painful misunderstandings and relentless pressure. From my perspective, Gere's early career was a perfect blend of innate talent and rare luck, but also the beginning of silent pains, tragedies that made him gradually distance himself from the world he once conquered. Now, let us go to the peak success, where glory reached its utmost, but also when tragedy began to subtly creep in, making one's heart ache with pity. 2 years later, the film An Officer and a Gentleman in 1982 turned a rising star into an immortal legend. The role of Zach Mayo gave Gere the opportunity to show extraordinary emotional depth, a man deeply wounded from the past, stubborn and headstrong but willing to change for true love and sacred honor. The classic scene where he carries Deborah Winger out of the factory amid resounding applause from colleagues became an eternal cinematic icon, making millions of audiences shed tears for the romance and sacrifice. The film not only achieved massive box office success, but also won 2 prestigious Oscars, solidifying Gere's position as the emotional icon of a new era, a strong but vulnerable man. Do you remember that scene? It is not just surface romance, but touches the deepest feelings about sacrifice and self-change for the one you love. From my personal perspective, this was the peak that made Gere the idol of our generation, but also when he began to feel the burden of fame, a silent tragedy when the light was too bright, invading his private life mercilessly. The true peak came when he met Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman in 1990. The modern fairy tale between cold businessman and Edward Lewis and lively prostitute Vivian Ward could have been cliched without the magical chemistry between the 2 stars. Gere did not try to seduce ostentatiously. He just sat there, silently observing with deep eyes, letting Julia Roberts shine with her radiant smile. The overwhelming success, over $460 million globally, not only turned Julia into Hollywood's favorite sweetheart, but also firmly placed Gere among the greatest romantic leading men of all time. Analyzing deeply, that chemistry was not just on screen. It reflected Gere's ability to connect emotionally authentically, but also increased private pressure to suffocating levels. Throughout the 1990s and 2000s, he maintained a solid position with a series of brilliantly successful films. Runaway Bride in 1999 reunited Julia Roberts, bringing a humorous romantic story about a bride who often flees and a persistent journalist, earning hundreds of millions of dollars. Chicago in 2002 brought him a prestigious Golden Globe, with the sly lawyer Billy Flynn role contributing to the film's Best Picture Oscar win. Shall We Dance? In 2004 explored a middle-aged husband's journey to rediscover passion, with Gere starring alongside Jennifer Lopez, emphasizing themes of life balance, and Arbitrage in 2012 proved his dramatic depth through the role of a successful but ethically conflicted CEO. No sensational scandals, no chasing superheroes or elaborate CGI effects. Gere maintained his appeal by letting it mature over time, like a fine wine. Analyzing carefully, his career is a vivid testament to sustainability. While many stars burn bright and then fade, Gere chose to grow gradually, making each role reveal a new version, more mature, more reserved, but still irresistibly captivating. Because Gere's greatest charm is not his handsome face, but the rich life experiences hidden behind that smile. Experiences full of tragedies like family losses, political controversies. From my personal perspective, I admire how he turned age into an advantage, instead of fighting it, a profound commentary on the Hollywood industry that always worships youth, where Gere's tragedy is being pushed to the margins when he chose to live authentically. However, behind that glory was the real tragedy. Gere began to feel out of place, leading to the decision to withdraw that left many regretful and curious. Now, let us delve into his personal life, where emotions surge the most, with beautiful but tearful relationships, contributing to the lingering pain at age 75. Success came early, dazzling fame. With one of Hollywood's most charming faces, Gere became the ideal man in the eyes of millions of women worldwide. But that image also turned his private life into a target for tabloid hunting. On screen, he was the perfect lover with passionate kisses. In life, Gere was a complex mystery, with many layers of emotions. From my perspective, his private life reflects the journey of seeking true love, parallel to seeking himself, an intensely emotional journey, from passionate fervor to cold loneliness, then late peace. His first serious relationship was with actress Penelope Milford in 1971, 7 quiet years together. Witnessing Gere from obscurity to gradual fame, they shared a modest apartment in New York, overcoming career difficulties and self-doubt. After parting at the end of the 70s, Gere entered a phase of rising fame, with shorter but colorful relationships. Tuesday Weld, the independent actress who once warned him that fame will devour your emotions, and Barbara Carrera, the beautiful Nicaraguan actress who appeared beside him just as American Gigolo turned him into a new sex symbol. But the longest and most meaningful relationship of that period was with Sylvia Martins, the Brazilian painter from 1978 to 1986, a true spiritual companion, traveling with him to Tibet, participating in meditation retreats, and supporting him in moments of deep self-searching. Sylvia was not just a lover, she was the one who led Gere to Buddhism, helping him seek meaning beyond the sex symbol glamour. Analyzing. This phase marked a major inward shift for Gere, from the glamorous world full of temptations to a path of spiritual purity, a profound commentary on how fame can lead people astray without a sincere companion. I believe you will empathize with Gere on this point. Seeking spiritual meaning often comes late in life, but for him, it started early and saved him from greater tragedy, though later there were still pains from isolation. Amid that existential turning point, Barbra Streisand, a Hollywood icon 6 years his senior, appeared like an emotional storm. Rumors of romance spread in the early 80s, called a galactic collision by the press between a rising star and an immortal queen. Did Streisand pursue Gere? They never confirmed, but the looks on red carpets, secret meetings caught on camera, and silence from both only added to the mysterious allure. They parted due to completely different lifestyles. Gere needed solitude to find himself, while Streisand was born to shine under the lights. From my personal perspective, this relationship left lingering emotional questions. Was Gere seeking a deep love to escape himself from the tragedy of fame? After Streisand, the rumor list was endless. Priscilla Presley, Elvis's widow, Kim Basinger, the sensual actress, and many others, suggesting a phase where Gere was not ready for long-term commitment. Those fleeting relationships surely left scars in his heart, contributing to the cold loneliness in old age. Then Gere entered his most serious relationship at the time with Cindy Crawford, 17 years his junior, called the golden couple of the 90s. They met in 1988 at a simple barbecue party, married in 1991 in Las Vegas with a ceremony so modest they used rings made from aluminum foil. They faced countless rumors of fake marriage, even Gere being rumored gay, leading them to spend $30,000 on a full-page ad in the press to deny it. But behind the flashes, Crawford wondered, who am I in this relationship? I've changed too much to become the woman he needs. They divorced quietly in 1995 without major scandal. Analyzing. Media pressure was the main destroyer, a sad commentary on how Hollywood turns love into showbiz, ruining the most authentic things. Dear listeners, this is a typical tragedy. Screen glory cannot save personal happiness, and I feel heartbroken thinking of Gere, a sensitive man pushed into a vortex of toxic rumors. Before the marriage echoes faded, Gere met Carey Lowell in 1995, former model, seductive Bond girl, an actress in Law and Order. They married in 2002 after the birth of their son, Homer James Jigme, living on a peaceful farm in Bedford, New York. Gere grew organic vegetables, read Buddhist scriptures, and only accepted roles with spiritual depth. It seemed he had found a true home, a refuge from the tragedy of fame. But not everything quiet is truly peaceful. Carey gradually felt out of place with Gere's increasingly deep introspection. They separated in 2013 after 18 years together, with legal disputes lasting 3 years over the massive $100 million assets. Gere was so stressed he once pointed a sharp black object at a photographer, completely breaking the peaceful Buddhist image he had built for years. Analyzing. This was the emotional peak of tragedy. No betrayal or scandal, just gradual misunderstanding, a sad commentary on long-term marriage, where time can fade connections, leaving lingering pain in old age. After the divorce, Gere briefly dated Padma Lakshmi in 2014, a fleeting relationship between two people healing wounds. Then he reconnected with Alejandra Silva in Italy, the woman who changed his life. With a high society Madrid background, once dated soccer player Roberto Carlos, and runs the Rice Foundation Against Homelessness. 33 years apart, but Gere won her with daily bouquets and sincere handwritten letters. They married in 2018 at the Pound Ridge Farm, New York, with a solemn Buddhist ceremony welcoming two sons, Alexander in 2019 and James in 2020, along with Alejandra's son Albert and Gere's Homer. Alejandra has no ties to showbiz. She lives fully for charity, once slept on the streets to understand the pain of the homeless, and shares humanitarian values with Gere. From my personal perspective, Alejandra is the final perfect piece, bringing late happiness, but also making previous tragedies more poignant. They support each other in countless charitable activities, like screening The Dinner in 2017 to raise funds, or posting family photos in 2025 wearing open-arm shirts to raise awareness about migration and European healthcare. This is the bright part in Gere's life tragedy. But does late happiness truly compensate for the losses, the pains from previous broken marriages? Now we come to the controversies and withdrawal, where the tragedy truly peaks, making one's heart ache with pity and endless curiosity. Gere's life was not as smooth as his elegant appearance. On Oscar night in 1993, while presenting the Art Direction Award, he suddenly criticized China's human rights and the Tibet situation. "I send love, truth, and a bit of sanity to Deng Xiaoping. Could you withdraw troops from Tibet?" The room fell silent in shock. Gere was banned from the Oscars for 20 years and gradually excluded from major films as Hollywood increasingly depended on the huge Chinese market. Analyzing. This was a costly price for courage, a profound commentary on sacrifice, where Gere chose conscience over a brilliant career. From my view, he is a rare hero in Hollywood, where many choose silence for personal gain. But what is the tragedy? His career suddenly stalled, and at 75, he probably still agonizes over that choice, over lost opportunities forever. Then the kiss in 2007 in New Delhi at an AIDS awareness event. Gere hugged and kissed Shilpa Shetty's cheek in a friendly Hollywood style, but it caused fierce outrage in India. Street protests, burning photos, even an arrest warrant for insulting culture. The Indian court dropped charges in 2008, but Shetty waited until 2022 to be fully vindicated. Gere calmly responded, "In America, that's just a polite, friendly gesture." Analyzing. This incident highlights sharp cultural clashes, a commentary on how Gere learned a lesson in humility but did not change his courageous nature. This was another deep wound, making him withdraw even further into his inner world, a tragedy of global misunderstanding. As Hollywood gradually turned away, Gere did not fight back with lawsuits or media counterattacks. He withdrew deliberately, spending time meditating, taking long walks in nature, living peacefully in rural Pound Ridge, New York. He shifted to independent films like Time Out of Mind in 2014, playing a homeless man alienated from society. Reflecting his own tragic psychological state at the time, he focused entirely on charity, funding human rights, AIDS research, supporting Tibetans, all quietly, without fanfare or press conferences. From my personal perspective, this withdrawal is the emotional peak, from the height of glory to painful isolation, then rebirth through compassion, an inspiring journey, proving life is more meaningful than fleeting fame. But at 75, the tragedy is the solitude he endured for those courageous choices, as the world forgets an icon who once moved them. Next, Gere's legacy and influence, where we see the true value behind the lingering tragedies, the silent sacrifices. Richard Gere is not just the face of a golden cinematic era. He proves that a leading man can be sustainable, evolving without sacrificing personal integrity. In Hollywood that worships youth and noise, Gere chose the opposite path: fewer roles, quieter living, and speaking truths others avoid. He embodied a different masculinity, not relying on muscular build or heroic voice, but captivating through deep introspection, profound gaze, and roles full of ethical complexity. Films like Days of Heaven with poetic beauty, American Gigolo redefining the sex symbol, An Officer and a Gentleman on love sacrifice, Pretty Woman with immortal romance, and Chicago with musical talent, all shaped the modern man archetype: seductive but vulnerable, confident but knowing when to step back. Analyzing. This legacy is for our generation, those who value depth over superficial glamour, and the tragedy is Gere paid with his career to maintain it. His influence extends far beyond the screen. One of the first Americans to publicly support Tibet from 1978, Gere became a close disciple of the Dalai Lama, founding the Gere Foundation in 1999 to support hundreds of organizations in Asia, Africa, America on human rights, mental health, AIDS, and homelessness. He funded healthcare in Africa, disaster relief, and advocated for refugees, all with humility, without self-praise. In Buddhism, he is a true practitioner, meditating daily for peace. From my view, Gere's legacy lies in unshakable authenticity. He influences not by flashy efforts, but by not losing himself, even as the world tries to change him. Finally, Gere's current life in 2025, where the tragedy seems to have a peaceful end, but still leaves lingering regret. After moving to Madrid at the end of 2024 to be near his wife's family, Gere enjoys the long-awaited peace. In an interview with El País early in 2025, he shared that his wife Alejandra is very happy being close to loved ones. Their sons Alexander, 6 years old, and James, 5 years old, speak bilingual English-Spanish, attend local schools, and participate in community programs like Hogar C and Open Arms supporting refugees. In May 2025, they posted rare family photos wearing Open Arms shirts on social media to raise awareness about migration and healthcare for European refugees. A quiet but meaningful action. Early in the year, Gere attended the City Harvest Gala in New York with his eldest son Homer, 25 years old, raising 8,500,000 meals for the poor. They also launched a new website for the Gere Foundation, emphasizing the mission, caring for what is painful and forgotten, supporting from refugee rights to global homelessness prevention. At the Dalai Lama's 90-year birthday celebration in Dharamshala in 2025, Gere reaffirmed his lifelong commitment to the Tibetan movement, calling on the younger generation to continue protecting cultural and spiritual heritage. In recent interviews, Gere shared plans to return to America after time in Spain, where he feels happier than ever with Alejandra, but still harshly criticizes American politics, especially the dark marriage between power and money under Trump. As he said, "Billionaires are controlling America, and they take food from children, push them out of shelters, and steal medicine." He also faced health tragedies like pneumonia in 2023, making his wife cry. But he recovered and continues a healthy life with a vegetarian diet. Meditation. Richard Gere does not need noise to become a legend. He walks through life with rare stillness, as if understanding that in the end, what remains is not fleeting fame, but how to live and love authentically. From my personal perspective, I see Gere as an endless source of inspiration. Perhaps you were once mesmerized by his charm in Pretty Woman, or just remember a smile that made your heart flutter in Chicago. But whatever, he has left a deep mark in our generation's hearts. Do you remember the first time you saw Gere on screen? Which role made him stay in your heart forever? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to explore more icons who changed the world like Gere, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you for listening to this tragic but inspiring journey. See you in the next audio blog, where we continue exploring touching stories from old and new Hollywood.